use the internet or Elif Hoca? Yes, you can. Okay,
No,
perfect.
we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear.
So as I was saying, you can ask your questions throughout my, it's not going to be a presentation. I want it to be more like a chat. So some of you will be listening to me, I think the third time, second year students. I'm sorry about the repetition because you probably already heard what I will say. But anyways, bear with us. Okay, because Elif Hocam, Tuba Hocam, they're listening to it a million times as well. So as I said, as you have questions throughout the class, please write your questions or just ask your questions. Interrupt me, it's perfectly fine. Don't wait until the end. You don't have to wait until the end. So today we're going to talk about the CVs. Because you're first year students, I'm not gonna put too much emphasis on certain parts, but there are certain things in a CV that you have to pay attention regardless of your class. Because you're first year, probably this year you will not be applying for any internships, as far as I know. Most likely you will do it next year. So before I begin, I want to warn you, because sometimes first year students get stressed out after a CV seminar, thinking that they don't have anything to fill out their CV. That's all right, that's perfectly fine. We all know that. But if you know the format, you can always fill it up on your own as you go towards your graduation. So there are a couple of aspects that you have to pay attention in a CV. Let's start with the very top of a CV. So normally, ethically, a CV does not include a photograph. But in many places, many countries, many companies, they ask for a CV with a photograph. So it's up to you. You may choose to add a photograph to the CV and apply, or you may leave it out. It's up to you, as I said. But if you include a photograph in your CV, please make sure that it's a sleek, nice, clean photograph, not something from your summer vacation, you know, something more formal. You can even get one photograph taken at a studio with a shirt or some formal clothes, nice background. So include something that's rather formal. When it comes to your contact information, it's important to use AGU email addresses. I know that some of you are using Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, which is fine, but in that case, try to use something with your first name and your last name, and that's it. So, for example, an abbreviation of your name with some numbers, your birth date, something like that. It doesn't look professional, so try to use your AGU email addresses in your CV. If you don't want to use it for some reason, get one that is first name, last name, and that's it. For example, esra@yahoo.com. esra.kılıçarslan@yahoo.com. You can use that as well, it's fine. But as I said, don't do some abbreviation or some fictional character name. Use your actual real name in your email addresses. That's important for professional reasons. Also make sure if you're using abbreviations, it is readable, because they're not gonna spend too much time while typing your email address if they want to respond to you. Yeah, like that, Hamza, exactly. Destroy your xxxbatman@gmail.com. That's a very good example of a bad email address. Thank you. Don't do that. So we also try not to use too many consonants right after each other, because I encounter stuff like that too. For example, SLMK, JLT at blah.com. I mean, it's not easy to read it and type it correctly. You may not get the response of the company. Remember that they will probably contact you through your email, especially if you're making international applications. They most likely won't call you, but email you. So if we're thinking about the contact of your company with you, you should also pay attention to your open address, which should be included again on top of the CV. Your photograph, your name, your phone number with the area code and the country code. If you are making international applications, make sure that you're including the country code as well. Your email address, as we said, and also your open address, because they may want to mail you some documents too. Something I encounter often is people are trying to translate their mailing address into English. But that is, of course, not a good idea. Write it as it is in Turkish, because when you translate it into English, the delivery person is going to be somebody from PTT, and most likely they won't be speaking English. And they are the people who will deliver the package to you. So your address should be open and in the native language of the country that you will receive it in. So in Turkish for most of you, I guess. For some of you who are staying at the dorms, you should update the mailing address part often. For example, if you write your dorm address and you're gonna be back in your hometown for summer and you're making applications, please update the address so that actually they can reach you. Otherwise, you'll be in, for example, Kırıkkale at home, and your mails will be coming from the company to your dorm and probably get lost. So you don't want to take that risk. Make sure that you're updating your mailing address part as you move between the dorm to an apartment or hometown. Other than that, the crucial parts of the CV are, let me share my screen with you. I'll actually share a good example of one of our graduate-to-be's this year. I don't mind sharing the CV catalog with you digitally right now because we're gonna publish it, and they know that. So I have a good example. Let me share it with you. I think I managed to, right? You can all see it. Yeah. For example, yeah, okay, perfect. So here is a good example. This photograph is taken by press department of AGU. You may not have that chance always, but you can always go to a studio, or a friend of yours can take a nice picture of yours. So permanent address, she gave her dorm address, I think, hopefully. This is a good example of how mail gets lost. Abdullah Gül University, Kayseri, Turkey. It's a huge campus in and of itself, so one student may not be found in it if you don't write your actual open address. If you have a dorm room number, building number, give those. If you're living in an apartment, please make sure that you're writing the open address so that you can be found. For the phone number, she gave her cell phone number, which is also fine, and email address. You see, she's using Gmail instead of AGU address, which is fine. B. Nur Şahin is a nice abbreviation, it's acceptable, but try to use things like, sorry, pardon me. So try to use something with less repetition of letters so that it can be typed easily. If we check her education part, we start the CV with education. So the timeline in a CV goes from the most current to the past. not the other way around. So you will write everything, the most recent, the one before it, and the one before it. So she wrote her bachelor's degree from Kayseri, Turkey, Abdullah Gül University. And before that, she did Erasmus exchange, and she wrote that. As you might have noticed, in this CV, there's no high school information. And unless it is something that you think is going to get you hired, there is no need to include it in your CV either. So think about it when you're writing your CV. Think to yourself, if it really. So in that case, for you, your bachelor's degree part is enough. There will be one single line unless you did some exchange or language school abroad.
So before you move on, can I ask two questions that may also help students? So if you go top, since you're going one by one, the permanent address, do they have to write that permanent address as a word? Can they just
no, they can simply put the address.
Because it makes it too crowded.
Right? You don't have to.
And also with the education, it says like bachelor's degree and then Erasmus exchange. Is it a good example to put their education like that?
I think it is. She probably repeated it somewhere down. Let me check.
Because that kind of like, I wonder if it confuse people. That
Hocam,
so it's hard. Is it me or is it Esra that?
It's really hard to see.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, your internet connection is not stable, I think.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Please warn me so that I can repeat the parts that you
So
missed.
then is this okay like this then, that students, I wonder if it is too crowded like that?
No, well, in their case, they usually have one single line anyways, the bachelor's degree part. So some people do a broad title as a title, abroad experience. If they have multiple abroad experiences, they can collect them there too. But if not, opening another title just for this, it seems like it makes it more crowded overall. So they should, I think, try to compress the CV titles as much as they can. So as I said, none of them are, of course, absolute rules.
Yeah, and we have a question from the student. They're asking if they can put their high school. Apparently, they couldn't hear the part.
I see. Okay.
But should they use the high school?
Sure. So about the high school, I was saying, and you probably did not hear that part, unless it is a really stellar high school that you really want to mention because it will get you hired, go ahead and include it. Otherwise, it really does not matter at this point because your bachelor
So that's right, and we will ask you to repeat again.
It is really important. Can you hear me, Hocam?
Yeah, the sound again. We couldn't hear what you said.
Should I leave the meeting and connect again? Would it help? I don't know.
Maybe. Do you want to do that? Yeah, we can wait.
Sure, I can try that. that.
Because I know you connected before.
We do the seminars through. I've never encountered this problem, but let me try.
Waiting. Yes.
Leaving now. Okay.
Yes. And students, please also, you know, maybe we hear it, you don't hear it. You're welcome to ask your questions, of course, again, if you didn't hear it and didn't understand. So you're asking, which is great.
Hello, hocam. Is it better?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. If something goes wrong, please warn me again, because I don't notice. Seems stable in my screen. Okay, I'll go back to sharing screen. By the way, I'm not sure whether it's the sharing screen that is slowing me down.
Can that be too? Yes, I can also, let me also stop my video, and maybe you can stop your video
Okay.
and share screen. Let's try
Sure.
that. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, obviously. One moment. Here we go. You can all see my screen now, right, Hocam?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. If my internet lapses, please again let me know.
And we have another question before you move on. Should we put uncompleted things in our CV, like university?
Yeah, obvious, of course. So for a first year, second year, third year student, you cannot foresee your graduation. Maybe you can't put 2020. It may be 21 as well, right? You can't know for sure. So for in that case, you write your beginning year here. You can put a dash again, and you can say continuing, currently continuing, at present, or expected your graduation year. Expected 2021. It's up to you. You can definitely put it, and you should put your university education part here. But the date will change how you word it. You can put expected and your expected graduation year, I think. Shall I continue, Hocam?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect.
Hear you
So, how you write things, again, there is no rule book of writing a CV. So you can put it in many ways. If you type on the internet CV samples, you will see a million things there. You can pick and choose, it's fine. Just make sure that when somebody looks at your CV and scans quickly like this, they can see the important information. So make sure that it's not too crowded. There are not too many different types of writing, too many different colors. Try to keep it simple, clear, and readable. For example, here, the student, the person, Berfin, she wanted to emphasize her degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree. If you did any language school abroad, you can write it here as well, language school. And then she thought the next most important thing is her department, which is, of course, logical. She wrote her department and then the name of the university and finally the country. It's up to you. You can put the country or leave it out. That's fine. But if you're making international applications, you should definitely always include it. And another person can put the university in the beginning, and then the name of the degree, and then the department. But please remember that as we read, we usually pay more attention to the beginning of the line. So whatever you put here in this line, it'll be more visible, more memorable to the person reading your CV. And as I go, I would like to also underline the fact that when I say reading your CV, no one is gonna open your CV like this and spend half hour reading each and every detail of it. So some research shows that the companies, the HR people, they are usually spending about 7 seconds on average on each CV. So 7 seconds is super, super short, which means you should make everything clearly visible, which means you should leave out any extra explanations. You should only write the absolutely necessary data in your CV. And for somebody at your level of education, that is beginning of bachelor's degree, your CV definitely should not go beyond one single page. Single page is more than enough. You should be able to fit everything in a single page. So after her education, she opened another title, for example, projects. And as EEE students, I know that you will be taking part in many projects. You can, again, if you are following this format, date in the beginning, name of whatever it is, and then the place. So she said 2016 plugin and name of the project and with whom it was done. Again, she repeated for each project the same thing. Who was the instructor? Who was the instructor? Name of the project. But as you can see, she did not put any extra explanation for her projects, because you should not take more space in your CV with explanations. It'll make it too crowded. Try to put the explanations in your cover letters, which is another document. After the projects, as you can see, she's going with education. So she started out with academic information, she continues with academic information, and then she goes to the work experience, which makes sense for you guys too, because as first-year students, you probably won't have too many work experiences as interns or otherwise. So if it is not a really strong part of your CV, it is not necessary to put it somewhere up in your CV. Try to push it further. So work experience, again, she's following the same format as you can see, the date, what she did, internship, where she did it, and the city and company. So as you can see, she's following the same exact format everywhere throughout the CV, which should be the case, because if somebody is scanning your CV, they should be able to find everything quickly, where, when, with whom. So those